But there's another understanding of faith which is much more like the disciples, and that is that we just want to follow Jesus. We have a sense of Jesus in our hearts, and we want to follow the Master. And we find out about him from the Bible and from searching together in the Christian church and from studying Scripture and hearing beautiful music. And God speaks and works within us. This is faith at the deeper emotional, psychological, spiritual level. This is faithfulness. And that's what Jesus is talking about here. Don't give up praying. Pray all the time. Just keep praying. Just keep doing it. Just keep approaching God. Just keep going to the Father. And God will hear your prayers. We spoke about some of the numbers in our campaign. Over right at $630,000 pledged thus far from half of the folks who usually give. We're going to keep on keeping on. We're going to keep being faithful. We're going to keep on until everyone has an opportunity to respond. And if they do their part, we'll be in excellent shape. Thank you so much. It's a 3-year campaign. As new people join the church, we're going to give them opportunity to give to the campaign too. 2 more years left. Would you like to make a commitment? Over these next 3 years, we'll have some people who decide to give major gifts to the church, perhaps something out of an estate or property or some other gifts. We'll be happy to take that. We are right on target if we will be faithful. Our local budget, right at $290,000, and we need about $600,000 to operate during a year, downtown church. We're right at halfway with half of our people. We're going to continue to be faithful. We're going to continue knocking on that door. Look for those other gifts to come in. We're right there. We are doing God's work in this place, and God is blessing us for doing it because we keep showing up. We keep asking. We're like the widow. We're not going to give up on this task. Faithfulness. Doing what God asks. Wonderful story that I got from Bishop Rudiger Minor. I might have told this before. If I have, listen to it again. It's a great story. It's true. Bishop Minor is from East Germany. And when the Soviet Union fell, when the wall came down, all of a sudden Russia was again open to the Christian witness. And lots of different groups went into the former Soviet Union to proclaim the gospel. Lots of different people. Baptists and Methodists and Presbyterians and all kind of different folks. The former communist government, in league with the Russian Orthodox Church, became kind of upset about all these new folks coming in and starting new organizations that essentially would compete with them. And so the Duma, the parliament of the Russian Federation, passed a law that said you couldn't own property and build a church unless you could prove that your movement was active in Russia prior to 1919 during the Russian Revolution. In other words, you had to be grandfathered in. There had to be some incontrovertible proof that your movement was active in the Soviet Union prior to 1919, which meant that a lot of the more modern groups wouldn't get a chance to operate there. So Bishop Minor, who had been appointed bishop in Russia, he was a good German. He knew how to do research. He got together a group of Methodists who were there, and they went to the official military archives of the Soviet Union and found out that in 1909, aboard a Russian military ship, 8 Russian sailors had been thrown into jail for having a Methodist Bible study. There it was. Proof in the military's own hand, incontrovertible, that there was such a thing as a Methodist movement in Russia 10 years prior to the Russian Revolution. And these young sailors had been thrown in the brig for having a Methodist Bible study. Because of that, the Methodist movement in the Soviet Union qualified to be a legitimate movement. We now own a seminary in Russia. We are training pastors. The Methodist Church is the fastest growing Protestant church there. One of the biggest reasons is that we not only allow but encourage women into the ministry in Russia. They're going out into Afghanistan and other places in the former Union making their witness. Now here's my question. Do you think those 8 sailors in 1909 aboard some cold Russian warship out in the middle of the Baltic Sea thought that by having their little prayer meeting they would one day open the Soviet Union for the Methodist witness? No. They were just being faithful. They were showing up and doing what they were supposed to do. They were asking God's guidance. That's exactly the way that God continues to operate in our midst. Like the widow, we keep going to God. We keep praying. We keep showing up. We keep asking for justice. We keep making our witness. And who knows what in the future that will open up. God asks for faithfulness and blesses it. Listen to our lesson once again. Will God not grant justice to his chosen ones who cry to him day and night? Will he delay long in helping them? I tell you, he will quickly grant justice to them. And yet, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? Will he find the faithful in this place? Those who sow his seeds because that faith lives in them and they seek Jesus every day. We do our part, God is ready to bless. As we sing our final hymn this morning, and we'll sing all of the verses, I want to ask you again, come to the altar if you would like to make your pledge there. Come to the altar to pray if you've already made a pledge. Come to the altar to pray if you're still considering so. We have a gift for you this morning. I want to shake your hand and say thank you for the work that you do. We will remain faithful together in this place, and God will bless. Let's stand for 584. The altar is open.